Hey, good morning, everyone. This is, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're listening to this and watching. My name is Professor Wheeler. I will generally sign off on your assignments as Prof W because it's just easier. That's why. Welcome to our 8-week fast-paced English 1301 course. Now, if this is your first time taking a college class and likely your first time taking an English class, there's a lot of things that you need to know before I turn you loose on the assignments. All right. So, the first thing I'd like for you to know is that the theme of this course revolves around food and culture. Now, we are allowed as English professors to choose a theme for our assignments if we'd like to. Some people don't. You'll get a variety of things. For me, I like to have one focus for the semester. And when I was coming up with this course, being fairly new to Dallas College, this is my thirdish year here, although I did teach in the past for Dallas College. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Um, what I really loved about Dallas College is the variety of nationalities that we get coming to our campuses. I'm not sure how many languages in total are spoken across the Dallas College 7 campuses, but I remember that when I was at Richland, there were 26 different languages spoken there. Because we come from so many different cultures and cultural identities, I thought this was a great way to kind of get you thinking about something that you care about and understanding that food and culture are completely intertwined. And I hope that you understand that and learn to become better critical thinking through the delivery of this theme. All right, so let's go on to the next slide. Alrighty, let's talk about workflow. That's what you are going to have to be disciplined about because I don't see you 2 to 3 times a week like I see my other students, and you're going to have to be very proactive in keeping up with this course. So here's how the course flow goes. All right. On Monday, you'll have a weekly announcement, just like this one. I'm posting it on Sunday this time because I know there's some eager beavers out there that want to know exactly what is upcoming, but you aren't expected to have viewed this presentation until tomorrow. So, like every Monday from this one on for the next 8 weeks, I will come to you Monday morning with your course assignments. There will be links within the assignment, excuse me, to whatever reading we have coming up for the week. I don't know if you've ever encountered this kind of a class before, but we use open educational resources. By we, I mean me. Some people use a book. I do not. I have hand selected personal writings that I have found meaningful and that students over my last 30 years have told me they've enjoyed. I'm always updating my syllabi selections, but there are some anchors there that I've been teaching for a very long time. Please know that I know every one of these essays inside and out, and you are going to be doing that as well. All right, so open your weekly announcement, find the link. I should say the links are also included on the assignment, and I think on the syllabus. If I haven't put them on the syllabus yet, I will. But so there are 3 places for you to find the reading for the week: in the announcements, in your course, and on the syllabus. Let me also say that because all of our resources are open educational resources, that everything that I assign to you can be found online. So first, if you find a link is broken, please let me know right away. I will send an announcement to the whole class when telling them that the link has been replaced. But if I am not available and you have your lunch hour and this is the time that you need to read that essay right now, just type whatever the title is plus full text. So if we're not reading this one this term, but if I said Shirley Jackson's The Lottery, you would just put The Lottery, Shirley Jackson, full text into Google or whatever search engine you prefer. Find that full text reading and it will be the same. Okay. So that's where you find the stuff. Then you're going to read and review the materials. I don't just throw you out there with nothing. There will always be a supporting slide deck perhaps a video. I don't video lecture to you every single week. I would say, I don't know, every other-ish week. The PowerPoints themselves are pretty, I think, self-explanatory, walk you through everything that's expected, and then asking you to use your own creative and intellectual minds to formulate a response. So I would suggest that by midweek, Wednesday, Thursday, you have that draft done. If you have questions to ask me, that would be the time to ask them. If you wait until Friday or Saturday, hey, I've got kids, I have a life, I'm going to be out and doing things. I may not be able to answer your question as quickly as you would like. I'm also teaching many other sections of this class, both face to face and online, as well as other courses. So please, if you have questions, make sure that you are prepared to ask them early so that you can have your best chance for the best grade on the weekly assignments or any assignment that we're working on, okay? As for Sunday, the deadline, the absolute drop dead deadline is Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Please read my other announcement carefully. You must submit a ticket to IT if there is a legitimate problem on Dallas College's end. Problems on your end, I am not responsible for. You waited until 11:30 on Sunday to upload your paper and your home Wi-Fi isn't working and you have to go to McDonald's. That's on you, fellas, girls. That's not on me. So that is not an excuse. Likewise, you cannot just say, Professor Wheeler, I tried to upload my paper, but the system wasn't working. Here you go in email. Nope. Take zero papers over email. There's a reason for this. I have a lot to remember. I can't, be relied on to say, oh, remember that I sent it here. No, that I want to eliminate that. It needs to be where it is, okay, where it's supposed to be. The other major reason is that I check everything. Every single thing that you send in goes through a plagiarism detector. Tomorrow, I will place a document in content. Everything that you need for this course is in content, whether that's slide decks or documents or course videos or I don't know, whatever it is, supporting documents you need, go to content and look at those things. Okay. So every week you will have all those supporting documents linked in the announcement or under course content. So please look at those things first. This is only an 8-week class, so we end on Thursday, October 15th. Always verify exact deadlines. Most things are due on Sunday, but due to the nature of this course, you may have more than one assignment in a week. You may have moving around due dates. Some things are due on a Sunday, some things are due on a Thursday. So that general rule of things being done on Sunday, it changes. And my 16-week classes online, their deadlines are almost always on Sunday at midnight. But for y'all, you're packing in twice as much work. I mean, all of the work into half of the time. This is not a reduced course. You are doing all of the work that my 16-week students are doing. So I hope you have time budgeted that for yourself and are prepared to spend a good deal of time in this course. All right, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, let me just say a few more words about the accelerated pace. You have twice the traditional week's work in half of the time. Log into campus several times a week, not just on Sundays. I may have amended things. I may have found additional resources to help you. So I'm just saying, well, I didn't see that. I can't control that, you guys. I can't. You have to be on top of this course, keeping up with your deadlines, doing the work that is required to you well before the deadline. That's my best advice to you. So make sure that your pace is consistent. I would certainly recommend saying, looking at a calendar and not just winging it. If you have, a lot of my students are non-traditional. Hey, I was non-traditional myself. You may have children, a spouse, working multiple jobs. Make it your priority before this class begins to say, okay, every Tuesday between 1 and 3 or 5 and 7, that time is devoted to this class. If you have kids, they're out of the room. If you have a husband to help you with those kids, he's responsible keeping those kids out of the room. Make it a priority for yourself, because if you don't, this course can get away from you quickly. 8 weeks. And if you get behind, let's say you get behind 1 week, that's like getting behind 2 full weeks every time you miss. And your knowledge here is cumulative. So if you get behind, you're going to be playing catch up, catch up, catch up. And you know what? You may not finish as well as you would like, or sometimes at all. So please be self-disciplined. I assume that if you are taking an online course, you know this, but I've been teaching a long time. So some students think it's just logging in and doing some multiple choice type quizzes or writing a skimpy paragraph. No, that what worked for you in high school is definitely not going to work here. If you have questions, ask them and ask them early. I'll be talking a little bit more about that in upcoming slides. So let's just pause here and go to the next one. Okay, so let's take a little brief overview of how these weeks are going to be chopped up. Weeks 1 through 3, you're going to read, write, and respond to weekly reading responses. And you are going to have your first short essay. The first short essay is a food narrative. You are going to tell me about some food that is important to you. It will absolutely be an I paper. I know a lot of you had the pronoun I beaten out of you in high school, but you are writing about your own experience. And it would be quite awkward to say one makes tamales with one's grandmother, whatever it is. Okay. So get that restriction out of your head. Be careful with things like mechanics and capitalizing the letter I. Text speak has become so common that I cannot tell you how many times students lose points for writing in text speak. This is a formal essay graded by a formal professor that is me, okay? I read every word you write. I read every word very carefully, and I provide you feedback. It is up to you to apply that feedback, to do exercises. If I say, hey, you seem to be really struggling with comma splices or fragments, write this down in your notes right now. It'll also be linked in your content. But you want to use OWL, 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 at Purdue Online. It is the best resource for all things mechanical and grammatical. So if I direct you to those lessons or exercises, you got to do it. No, are you getting a grade for it? Sort of, because if you keep making the same mistakes, you'll keep losing points. Am I going to grade that kind of stuff? Nope. This is where you become a self-directed learner. I'm leading you to the water, but I can't make you drink, to use a kind of messed up metaphor. All right, in week 2, we will be writing the second essay, in which you are going to be looking at a cultural food tradition. You will also be allowed to use I in this paper as you are writing about something in your own tradition. But here you are also going to be pulling in other sources that you may agree or disagree with. This is kind of getting your toes wet in academic research. So you will be having some sources, not a lot, but we will be starting to engage in the research process. During that 4 to 6 week period, we will also be starting to learn about the formal research paper, in which this one does take that academic distance. You are not going to be allowed to use the personal pronoun here. You are going to be centering on a cultural food process. I don't know how else to say it. You can take a look at the assignment if you like, but that's going to be longer. It's going to require more resources. It's going to require a works cited page. Actually, essay 2 also requires a works cited page. So just know that this is really quite a bit to pack into 8 weeks. You are going to have to be disciplined. So please take my advice. Get that time carved out in your schedule where all you are thinking about is this work. I know it's hard. We are all pulled in a million directions. Turn off your flipping phone, get into a quiet space, give this course the attention that it deserves, and you'll be done in 8 weeks with English 1301. If you don't listen, if you don't schedule your time, you don't keep up with your work, not only will you have lost money, but you'll have to take the course again. So yeah, let's just get into good habits now. Okay, next slide. Okay, let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, grading. All right, so here's how your scores are going to fall. You have 8 reading responses. That is 1 essay and 1 critical analysis per week. Those are worth 25 points, I guess, and worth a total of 200 points. You have the short essays that I just spoke about. Each will be building on the skills of the last. I expect you to read my feedback. Let me say one word about feedback, which I don't think I have already gone over. For some reason, if I move a due date from its original due date, let's say September 7th, and I want to give you an extra 2 days for whatever reason, I don't know why, but the system only remembers that first due date. So sometimes, if that has happened, you will see zeros pop up, even though you have turned in the work. You will know when I have graded your essay because there will always, 100% of the time, be feedback in your feedback box. Even if you screwed up and didn't turn in your work, I will still say, no submission received, deadline passed. And then you know that zero is legit. If you don't see any feedback in your box, you don't need to worry about it. You don't need to email me. I know it's there and I will take care of it. Okay. Now, like I said, those 2 essays are building skills. The first reading responses in first essay, I'm trying to get you on the grammatical, mechanical path and assess your critical thinking skills. By the time we get to the research paper, that's where it's going to get hairy. Okay. But let me talk about, I skipped one step. Let me talk about the research process. You will be taking many, many steps. I can't remember how many there are, 4 or 6, something like that, steps in the research process. They are going to include things uh, like your source approval, annotated bibliography, your outline, your research question and initial paragraph, maybe some others. All of those are designed to make sure you are ready to write the paper and must take place before you write anything at all. Okay. So all of those assignments leading up to the process are worth 200 points. They're of various degrees. One's worth 20 points, one's worth 40. I don't remember. You'll have to go look. All right. So then we come to the research paper, and you will see that that is worth 330% of the points. And you may be thinking, oh my God, well, yeah, it's like your final exam. Okay. We don't have a traditional final where you have to sit in and write in a blue book or whatever. This is the final paper. It is the culmination of everything you have learned in the course. You should be able to demonstrate to me by that point. So yeah, that's why it falls the way it does. All right, next slide, I guess. Okay, let's talk about the different types of assignments. Weekly work, these are called reading responses, in which you will be, again, reading an essay and responding critically to it. I do not take late work, especially during an 8-week class. You must have a documented emergency. And you know what? I feel bad about that requirement. I know it's tough. I was a single mom for a long time, and if I got a fever, I just wrote it out. I didn't have any documentation. But we do have a school nurse, and he or she, can give you a note saying, yes, this student was running a fever, blah, 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 whatever. So yeah, unfortunately, having been lied to by so many students over the years, I make this a requirement. Now, the short essays are worth 5%. I mean, they will be deducted by 5% per calendar day. So even if you gave me 100, which is not very likely, it's going to be reduced for a 5% per day up to 5 days. Why only up to 5 days? Because by that point, you are only going to score a possible 50 and you will not have passed it. So that's what that is. research process must be submitted on time. If you do not, I will still provide you feedback because I think it is imperative that you understand each step of the research process, but I'm not going to give you points. That wouldn't be fair to the people who did it on time. And also that takes extra time out of my schedule to deal with students who didn't submit when they were supposed to submit. And yeah, your main goal is not to annoy me during this process. Well, not your main goal, but it's up there in one of the top 3. All right, your final paper, absolutely no late submissions. Make sure you allow yourself plenty of time. We have to turn around grades extremely quickly, which is nice for science and math people, I guess, who can just run their Scantrons through. But it takes a long time to get into every single student's brain, to show them where they're going well or things aren't going so well here. So yeah, that's my explanation for why things are the way they are. Next slide. Okay, so Dallas College requires that you write in Word, Microsoft Word. You're saying, but Professor Wheeler, I don't have Word. You need to contact student IT and have them give you a code for the entire Microsoft Suite package. You will have access to Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all Teams, all the rest of that stuff, or maybe not Teams, I don't remember. But lots of things there. I will tell you this, I will take off points from day 1, reading response 1, if it is not formatted properly. This is the only way I can get students to do it. Otherwise, I spend 4 to 6 weeks going, please format this properly. No, it seems that students learn best when I take points away from them. So go to course documents, which is under content. You'll find everything. I think I've said this already. Everything is under content, your PowerPoints, your documents, what have you. It's there. There will be a one, as it says content MLA. You will say, look at how a first page should look and do that from reading response 1. Okay. It should be composed in 12-point Times New Roman font. Don't give me Arial. Don't give me Roboto. Don't give me, for the love of God, Comic Sans. And you think I'm kidding, but no. Like I said, I've been teaching for 30 years and it has happened more times than I care to count. Your entire paper should be double spaced. That includes your header and the body of your paper. Double spaced, 1-inch margins. Leave them alone. Okay. It is already set to 1 inches. Don't try to mess with it. That's where it goes. It must be formatted according to MLA requirements, again under course and MLA, and you must upload it to the assigned eCampus folder. I've already told you, do not email me stuff. Maybe I did, and maybe I'm going to get to that. Don't email me stuff. Don't tell me that you couldn't get into the portal. I've already told you that you need to create an IT ticket if that happens, okay? So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, I'm going to say this emphatically. An email is evidence, not a submission. Contact Dallas College technical support immediately. And don't just say, oh, I called him, Professor Wheeler. They're going to give you a ticket number. Make sure you record that ticket number so that I can assess it and see if it was a legitimate issue or not. Email completed work before the deadline and explain. Do not do that. Upload to eCampus when an access returns. An email is not where the assignment is graded. The reason I make sure and say this is forbidden is that I use plagiarism detection software on literally everything that you send to me, from your reading responses to your major work. And here's how that is going to work. You have a plagiarism detection tool for students. I strongly suggest that you employ that before you submit to me. Make sure that everything is your own writing. If you've used AI at all, you have to give me artifacts from that. More on that in a minute. But if your paper is coming up 25% or more, that's a flag for me. If that happens, I will, on the first instance, require you to submit your paper to me and make me an editor on it. And let me explain how that works if nobody has told you. So let's say your professor, me, requests that document. I will turn on track changes and a screen will appear to my right and it will show me exactly your typing history. So if it says began typing at 8:10 and I see the words kind of appearing, and then it shows me at 8:40 an entire page appears. This like 8:40 whole page appears. That's a pretty good indication that that is copy and paste, and which time you will probably receive a 0 for that assignment. And I'm not, unless you can come and prove to me that it's your work, that 0 is going to stand. Now, if it's a second instance where I have something that's coming up extremely high probability. And let me tell you that I also pay for an individual outside AI detector because I don't like accusing students at all. It doesn't make me comfortable. AI isn't perfect. It certainly can give you false flags. But when it's going above 25, 30, 40, 50, it's pretty clear. All right. So if it happens again, I don't mess with you. I just send the evidence. I run my report from Turnitin. I run it from my outside source. I use Pangram. And I look at the history of your writing. So after that point, if the student conduct finds, again, there has been a violation, there will be academic discipline, and it's out of my hands. It has just taken me so much. It takes me almost twice as long, or has taken me almost twice as long to teach and grade a class because of AI abuse. Very good at detecting it. I'm a writer myself. Like I said, I've been teaching for 30 years. I know it when I see it. And I know all the tells, even if you try to cover them up. Please don't do it. It's not only cheating yourself for your grade, you are not developing the skills that are going to be required of you. So that's my little diatribe about AI. Next slide. Okay, so here's how our fast pace is going to kind of pan out. 7 days, mostly weekly work. At 10 days, major essays and projects due. These are like in between, right? So from the time I announce it to you and the system shows it, you have that many days to complete. So for example, I'm coming to you on a Monday with the first reading response, which is due Sunday. So you can submit anytime before that, but you cannot submit after it. You have about 10 days from the time I tell you that there's a short essay coming due until it is done. Don't worry about where it says projects here. We do not have a project in this class. That is for my face-to-face classes. And then finally, yes, I expect you to apply the feedback to the piece of writing to your next writing. So if I say, hey, don't have a hook here, or this is way too long to be a thesis statement, or you need a transition, those kinds of things you need to be aware of right away and make sure that you are, fixing it before the next time. I don't leave this detailed feedback for my knowledge. I know how to do these things. You need to listen to my years of expertise as both a teacher and a writer to be successful in this class. All right, next slide. Don't just log in once a week and then log off. You need to come back at least 2 to 3 times before something is due. I may have added something. I may have taken something away. I may have some insight to share with you that will help you as you compose. Active participation means reviewing what I've said and reviewing your own work, engaging with the material. Let me see that you've spent time with it. Oh my gosh, it's so obvious when something is dashed off, 30 minutes before the due date. And make sure that you submit on time. Participation activity is due by August 30th. You have to show me you've engaged with the course materials by completing the diagnostic, some other things that can show, that you have participated. Okay, make sure you submit them on time again. Thank you. Excuse me, next slide. Okay, about academic integrity. This has become just so much worse in the last 5 years because of the advent of AI. And if you are offloading your cognitive skills to a machine, you aren't learning a damn thing. You're just copying and pasting and hoping for the best, right? So to prevent that, you must credit every borrowed idea, word, image, text. You have to tell me where it came from. Otherwise, it's plagiarism. My face-to-face classes get sick of me hearing me say this, but I often say to them, if it's not an original idea out of your own head, you must cite it. One way to prevent this is making sure that you place quotation marks around anyone's words who are not your own. That is an immediate signal to the reader that this isn't your idea, it belongs to somebody else. Never invent evidence, research, quotations, or citations because guess what? AI will hallucinate those things. It says, oh, you want sources about this? I can't find anything about that. Here, I'll make something up for you. And you know what? You don't know enough to know whether that evidence is valid, if it's not contradicting something that you already know, if it's making up authors you've never heard of. You don't have enough experience to know if that is true yet. So it's pretty obvious for those of us who have been teaching for decades. Don't submit another person's work. I mean, it's called collusion. That means that you are taking someone else's ideas or writing skills and presenting them as your own. That too can get you a 0 or perhaps fail the course. The same thing is true as presenting AI's writing as yours. It's not. And saying it is plagiarism. Next slide. Let's see. Okay, I don't want to scare you to death about AI. It is a fantastic tool, and I use it almost every day of my life. But you know what I don't use it for? Writing. I do not, because that is not my voice. That is a flattened out, non-human approximation of me, an approximation of you. And it's like that uncanny valley, if you know about that concept. If you don't, go look it up and learn something. But it has an uncanny valley quality to it. But yes, it can be helpful if you are searching for a topic, if you are brainstorming. That is a wonderful tool. Honestly, I've become a better professor because of the brainstorming capabilities of AI. I was taught under a certain pedagogy, and I learned to write and respond critically to that pedagogy. But there are many, many different ways of learning and departments and colleges that emphasize different things. And now I have all that other kind of thinking at my fingertips, and I get to decide what seems like a valid path and what doesn't. Organizing concepts. Oh my gosh, I use it all the time for that. For making this PowerPoint, for example, which I'm teaching in a number of different formats in 16 weeks, in 10, in 8, like you guys. So it cuts down on a lot of my confusion when I can have it quickly organize those different slides for me. That is fantastic. If you have a general question about something, hey, I was reading that tamales were invented in Honduras, but I know very well that they were invented here. Verify a question like that. For general feedback, like I think I've already encouraged you to look at my Substack. If you haven't, it's on the home page under my profile picture. Um, so I do sometimes I will run it through that, not to write anything for me, but just to say, is the continuity correct here? Are my transitions strong? For you guys though, I don't even know why I told you that. Don't do that. And here's what else I need to tell you. Get Grammarly the heck off of your laptop. Delete it completely because it'll start throwing up AI flags even if you are using it to process to just write and don't do that. The only tools it will not pick up on are the ones that are embedded in Microsoft Word, which is another reason that I'm insisting that you only upload in Word. You can there, you know how you'll get the little squiggly blue lines telling you there's an extra space or the word is misspelled. That is fine. But Grammarly changes too much of your writing and it will throw up those flags. So please remember that. You cannot produce analysis, arguments, or evidence for you. I've already talked about that, so I won't belabor it. And you may not use it to disguise or invent material. Those are all no-nos. So please keep that in mind. It's not a strict never touch it. I think that would be silly. It'd be like when Google came out and insisted people continue to use phone books. That's just not realistic. However, it is not a human writer, and I promise you, I know it when I see it. All right, next slide. All right, here the process is part of the assignment. So this is how I work. I hope you do too, but you know, I can't force you to. I'm just telling you what's worked for me for my longer than y'all have been alive, most of you. All right, so once you start out with brainstorming, just get it on the page. I will upload a essay that I just adore called Shitty First Drafts, which addresses the importance of brainstorming. After I've got a brainstorm going, then I can pick through it and create an outline. I personally strongly recommend that you create an outline. It'll keep you from going off on tangents. It'll help remind you of what your initial thoughts were about how this essay would go. Work from an outline. You don't need to do that until we get to the second a short essay, but honestly, I'm an outline fan. I would use it for the first one if you'd like. From your outline, then create a rough draft. Again, this is where shitty first drafts come in. You're taking that brainstorming in and you're kind of shaping it like clay into some semblance of a paper. You want to also create revision notes as you are doing that. Oh, this looks kind of rough here. I need to go back and fix that. Keep good research notes. I'm a big fan of note cards. I don't care how great AI is. There's, I think, a mind connection between physically writing something down and remembering it. I guarantee you, if you have to slow down and write those words on a note card, you're going to remember them rather than just let AI or whatever assemble your notes for you. I need you to take and keep source screenshots. So if something looks amiss and you have reported it, you can back it up with those source screenshots. Using a Word, as I've insisted that you must, it allows me to see your version history. For your final paper, you are going to have to create an AI use appendix. More on that later. Next slide. All right, guys, this is really important, especially in an 8-week course, which is very fast moving. So here are things that I am happy to help you with. Believe me, there's nothing I like better than seeing my students succeed. But succeeding means following the rules, okay? So here's what I can clarify for you. You can ask me anything about course concepts. What does this have to do with the essay that I'm writing? Can you explain more to me what David Foster Wallace had to say about food ethics? Whatever your question is regarding the course material, if you're not understanding it, something like that, yes, I'm your girl right here. Please, please ask me. Assignment expectations, like, Professor Wheeler, I know you said this needs to be 6 to 8 pages, but I only have 5.5. Is that okay? Don't just assume it's okay, because guess what? It's not. That's just one example. All right. Topics and feedback. When you're coming to your research paper, I have lots of options for you, but maybe you want to take it in a little bit different direction. Maybe you have something that I've never even thought of. Approach me with that. Genuine course problems. Like I said, I try very hard to make sure every link is working, that I have information for you in a variety of different places so you don't have to hunt it down or hunt me down. Those are all things that I can help you with. Here are things I cannot help you with because I don't have that knowledge. Technology, believe me when I tell you my 25-year-old daughter barely lets me change the remote batteries, right? I'm kidding. I'm actually pretty good at tech. But as far as what's going on in Dallas College, I don't know. You got to talk to IT about that. Research. Yes, I'm a good researcher. I'm a good writer. But do I have the knowledge of the Dallas College databases and other new and upcoming things in library science? Y'all, the last time I was in a formal class was 2003. Okay. And while I'm a good writer and keep up with technology, I don't have all those answers. So any research-based question and how to access things or interpret them, that needs to go to Dallas College librarians. Writing and tutoring. I can't be that individual for y'all. I just can't. I have many other classes. That's why we have tutoring, okay? So if you just got into 1301 by the skin of your teeth, past the TSA, like just play it. Is it TSA? Can't remember what it's called. But the test you have to take to get in, if you've only passed it by a wee little bit, you should probably expect to be spending a lot more time. And honestly, I'm not sure what you're doing in an accelerated course, but the things students do baffle me. So yes, we have tutors. They are typically Dallas College professors who take on extra tutoring responsibilities to make a little extra money. I'm not one of those people. I live in Denton and I do not tutor because I do not want to. Anyway, I am not the person to go line by line editing with you. That is the job of a tutor. Now, if you need accommodations, I am certainly willing and able and want to know about them. I have two grown children. They are both on the autism spectrum. My older daughter is pretty severe. My younger daughter is kind of in the Asperger range, if you know anything about autism. So I have a heart for students who have a disability and are trying. So whether that is a neurological condition like autism or another disability that I can help you with, please do let me know and we can get that process started if you have not already. Okay, that's what I can do and what I can't do. Next slide. Okay, let me talk to you about the pace of this course. Now, some people who take online courses like me are eager beavers and they want to get as much out of their way that they would rather sit down and spend 2 solid days knocking out stuff. But please don't get too far ahead. The courses that I'm teaching, I have been teaching for a long time. This particular course, only a couple of years. But sometimes I change things. Sometimes I add things. Sometimes I have something different or new to say, even if it was the course that I've been teaching for years. So you'll need to check in a couple of times a week. So obviously on Sunday when you're uploading, Monday when you're reading my announcements, I would recommend a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday check as well. You will get notifications whenever I give you something. So pay attention to them because I'm not going to be there to whack you on top of the head and say, hey, did you read my announcement? That's going to be on you. But that said, you can work ahead if you like. Again, the caveat of looking for amendments, but you may not work behind. So you're like, I don't, it just doesn't work that way. Okay. So I will not reopen due dates because you forgot or anything that isn't a document emergency. Go back to that slide if you don't remember what I was yapping about back then. Okay. Next slide. All right, so let's talk about milestones. Tomorrow, even though I am uploading this video today, you will generally see your announcements on Mondays, okay? So tomorrow or today, depending on when you're seeing this, our course officially begins. I have to have heard from you in some gradable fashion or something that by August 30th, if you are to stay in the course, all right? If you have not shown up by then, I report that. And for those of you on financial aid, that will impact you. So make sure that I have something from you by August 30th. September 30th is the last chance for you to withdraw from this course with a W, which it won't affect your grade or GPA. However, be cautious. Dallas College has a limit. I believe it's 6, but please verify that. times that you may withdraw from Dallas College for any reason, of course, for any reason. If you rack up 6 of those, you will not be allowed to withdraw again. And if you do not participate or whatever happens, you will fail the course and that F will stay on your transcripts. All right. October 15th is the date of our final paper, the culmination of all the skills you've learned in this course, and the term ends. I will not accept late work, period, on the final paper. We have to turn in grades like 3-ish days after the course ends. And that might be super duper fun for some science or math teachers or whoever gets to run Scantrons through, a grader. But for me, I really do read every word you write, and my responses, my feedback is designed to help you, not to penalize you, so that you learn and you become the strong writers that further college coursework and your careers will require. Next slide. Okay, if you stuck around this long, well, there's a little bonus for you. Especially in an 8-week course, I am not inclined to give bonus points, but it is so super important that you understand what is in the syllabus and what I've gone over here, that I've decided to create a bonus quiz. It will be 10 extra credit points. So if you bombed an assignment, that's going to at least make up for half of one of those points, or if you missed it entirely. Okay. So please take the quiz. You get whatever score you get on it. It's 10 points, 1 point per question. You can look at the syllabus, you can review my PowerPoint, whatever you want to do. I just want to make sure you understand the course requirements for this very, very fast moving 8-week course. Guys, I taught this class in 4 weeks one time, and that was bozo nutso, and I don't think I'll do that again because it was too much work for everyone, including myself. But 8 weeks, we can do it. You just got to be disciplined. So make that plan, ask me appropriate questions, ask other questions of other Dallas College professionals that may not be in my wheelhouse. All right. I really do enjoy learning about all of your cultures. I just came back to Dallas College 2.5 years ago. And I developed this food and culture course since then. I've had wonderful students from Nepal from whom I have learned so very much about their culture, which I knew absolutely nothing of. More about Mexican culture. I think I could probably hand make tamales now. It's just been a joy, and I love seeing how you understand how much more food is than just nutrition. Okay. Anyway, that's it. I'm sure I've gone on quite long enough. Oh my gosh, almost an hour, just like you would sit in a regular class. All right. So take care, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.